Hello, and welcome to another battle report. This is a 2,000 point match. You know, technically it's 1999 plus one because we're not using the double force organization or whatever charts. But 2,000 point match: Chaos Space Marines versus Anthony's Grey Knights and Imperial Guard Allied Force. Since we were using this as an opportunity to refresh ourselves on the 40K rules before a doubles tournament that's coming up this weekend at our local store, Mighty Titan. Of course, given the blizzard that hit us, the tournament was canceled. But at the time, we didn't know it would be. So, so we played this game. This is just the standard 12-inch deployment, and then D3 plus 2 objectives. We rolled up 4 objectives. So you can see, Anthony took great pains to arrange the battlefield in what he considered to be a tournament standard, as in everything's kind of equivalent. There's a hill on each side, there's forests on each side, there's various pieces of terrain, evenly spread throughout. We rolled 4 objectives and placed them like so in the center. And here's the deployment. Anthony won the role to go first and deployed himself first. Here's a close-up shot of Anthony's deployment. He has 2 Cyphelman Dreads, a Lehman Russ Demolisher, a Company Command Squad, a Platoon Command Squad is manning the quad gun, and then a variety of Imperial Guard infantry platoons with autocannons manning the wall. 2 Grey Knights strike squads. You have to excuse me, I'm not 100% on the Grey Knights Codex, but I believe that the guys on foot are just generic Grey Knight strike squads. And then those 2 rhinos on the right-hand side contain purifier units with a Psycan and an incinerator in each. And they're using that rule where they can declare that they're combat squad even though they're currently all embarked in the same dedicated transport. He has a Vendetta with an infantry squad in it, held in reserve, and Castellan Crow, who he needs to take to make the Purifier's troop choices, is also held in reserve because apparently he can't join units, and that makes him very vulnerable. Left to right on my side, that base up on the hill is actually a Forge Fiend. I just hadn't gotten around to assembling it in time for this game. So 2 Forge Fiends, no upgrades, just using the dual Hades autocannons. 3 Obliterators, Mark of Nurgle, toughness 5, making them immune to instant death from everything besides the Demolisher cannon. And then 2 Rhinos. Each Rhino contains 10 Chaos Space Marines with 2 plasma guns, and Veterans of the Long War for leadership 10. The sergeants do not have anything special. The aspiring champions, I used to give them Power Fists in 5th edition, but given the changes to the way power weapons and stuff work, I'm not going to do that. On my right side, I have a Rhino with 9 Noise Marines and a Chaos Sorcerer marked to Slanesh with Mastery Level 3. Now, I had misread the rules. I thought it was 5 models could get 1 Blast Master, and then more than that could take 2. After having played this game, the Sorcerer was neat. The Psyker powers that he brings have a lot of synergy with Sonic weaponry. However, going forward, I would just take 10 Noise Marines and ditch the Sorcerer so that my 2 Blastmaster list would actually be legal. He is really nice. He does have a tremendous amount of synergy with Noise Marines. He makes their Sonic Blasters Strength 5 if he puts a Malediction on a target, and then he has a little anti-horde capability with the Slanesh spell that makes them all attack themselves and stuff. But honestly, I'm so thoroughly unimpressed by Psykers in 40K, especially coming from Fantasy, where magic users have a tremendous impact on the game, that I don't think I would take him. Now, I did take a Chaos Lord with Terminator armor in the Mark Slanesh. This makes the Noise Marines troops. Honestly, it's kind of unnecessary. In this particular match, I didn't need them. But given that you must take an HQ unit, if I had to take one of them, I would take the Chaos Lord so that the Noise Marines would be troops, and thus a scoring unit. The Sorcerer was really cool. He had very little effect on this game just because Psyker powers are just not that great. I took 2 units of 10 Cultists, one of which has auto pistol and hand weapon and is attached to the Chaos Lord so that they are fearless. The other has auto guns and the heavy stubber, And they're both of them there. They're like 50 points a pop. They're just there to grab objectives. So here you can see Anthony post his first turn of movement at the top of turn 1 of the game. He didn't really do much besides. And then the Rhino only took 1 whole point as well. We had a bit of contention over the role of the defense line in shooting and providing cover saves. And I've been reading forums and kind of kibitzing about this point. My opinion is that if infantry are manning the defense line, they're going to peek over it or otherwise man it. And I know that in previous editions of 40K, if you were inside area terrain within 2 inches of the edge, you would not grant a cover save, etc., etc. The book doesn't have a hard and fast ruling for me to point to on this, but I'm going to assume that if you are manning a defense line, you are not granting a cover save to the person you target just because your line of sight is drawn through the line. But really, I'm very kind of flummoxed by this issue. Most of the guys I put behind the defense line are just there to go to ground and get a 2-up cover save. But if you're going to man the defense line with high strength, high value target, high value shooting, I should say, if you have to go down on every, you have to physically lean over and put your eye next to the model to see if he can see through the defense line. And that's endlessly tedious. I guess that's the rules as they're written, but God almighty is that tedious. So me and Anthony kind of just agreed that if your guys are flush or within a couple inches of the defense line, that they're going to man it and they're going to lean over with their weapons and they're not going to try to shoot through the wall. But in any event, we had a little discussion of whether or not the Rhino would get cover saves for the guys that were shooting through the wall. And any of his guys that were firing from more than a few inches behind the wall, like, say, through his other infantry units, would grant cover saves, but the guys on the wall would not. This was a long tangent. I apologize. Long story short, the Rhino took 1 whole point of damage and is otherwise unharmed. So we go into the bottom of turn 1. My guys just continue to advance. The big threat is the 24-inch, or actually, pardon me, the 30-inch threat range of the Demolisher. So the Rhinos hang back. The Forge Fiend advances kind of. I don't really care if they're going to shoot at something. I'd rather they shoot at one of my models that has the Demon Special rule for a 5-up invuln and immunity to shaken and stunned. But so that's what happens on this flank. And on the other flank, I don't really advance at all. We open up with the Forge Fiends, since they're pretty much guaranteed to die the second Anthony decides to start focus firing on them, because they're just AV-12 walkers, and a 5-up invuln save is nice, but it's certainly no guarantee. I always use the Forge Fiend the first round of shooting their Demon Forge special rule. This is a rule they can use once per game. It allows them to reroll failed rolls to wound, or reroll failed armor penetration rolls. And then at the end of the turn, you must roll a d6, and on a roll of a 1, they take an additional whole point of damage. But so between the 2 Forge Fiends and the various Obliterators, etc., I managed to destroy both of Anthony's Rhinos, and it's the explodes result, so he takes a few casualties from guys and from guardsmen being blown up because they're too close to the vehicles, or dudes inside being blown up by the vehicle exploding. The Blastmasters and the Noise Marine unit remain stationary, so they have a 48-inch range with a Strength 8 AP3 blast template that ignores cover saves. So Anthony had 5 strike squad, a 5-man strike squad that was kindly grouped up, and I just put the Blastmaster into it. 1 shot scattered, the other shot did not, and 5 hits, 5 wounds, 5 dead Grey Knights. I'll take it. So here we are going into the top of turn 2. Anthony's Vendetta comes onto the board. I use this opportunity to interceptor fire with the quad gun. The Chaos Lord is manning it. He's ballistic skill 5, so it's hitting on 2s. Hit with almost all 4, I believe. Only cause a single hull point. No shaken, no stun, nothing like that. And then Anthony decides that turn 2 is the turn to break out. The Lehman Russ Demolisher hops the fence, and the Purifiers begin to advance on the right-hand side. So you can see the total disposition of his forces after turn 1 movement going into shooting. And not this is a little out of order. This is actually the beginning of my turn, but to illustrate what had happened, Anthony's fire in turn 2 shooting is extremely effective, and he manages to destroy both of my rhinos, one of my forge fiends, and he also destroys the rhino that contains the noise marines. I take this opportunity to spread out and minimize the damage of the Demolisher, but it should be noted that the Demolisher fires onto the rhinos and I think actually penetrates both, as well as putting a wound on the Forge Fiend that had previously been with where those Marines are standing on the hill right now. Wow, I mean, I gotta say that the anything that has the I can't remember the name of it. It's like it's the special rule afforded to battle cannons, demolishers, vindicators, etc. It's like artillery shells or whatever it is. I can't remember the name of the special rule, but that gets to re-roll rolls, to, armor penetration rolls, or roll 2 and take the higher, same difference. And you no longer have to have the hole in the circular templates on top of the model to get full strength hits. Absolutely devastating. So Anthony's completely demacked all of my Marines, and you know, the way it stands, there's 2 objectives that both of us have kind of like available to us, not too far away from our battle lines to kind of hustle to on turn 4, and I just spread out my Marines to minimize casualties from the blast template, and I'll just grab those as we get closer to the end of the game. Now the Helldrake has zoomed on 18 inches and is positioned like so. Anthony intercepts it with his quad gun and puts 2 hull points on it. I believe one of them was a glancing hit, the other was a penetrating hit that caused a stun. The Helldrake, as well as the Forge Fiends, has the Demon Possessed special rule, which means on a 2+ it ignores Shaken and Stun. And in this case, the Helldrake ignored the stun result. And then this is just a nice shot to show that I had spread out the Noise Marines and the Chaos Sorcerer. I believe the Cultist had gone to ground against Anthony's small arms fire. Behind the Aegis defense line, they have a 4-up cover save, and then that goes to a 2-up when they go to ground. So it really doesn't matter that they're terrible, awful infantry. Their only job right now is don't die, and they managed to do that pretty handily. The Helldrake shoots its Bale Flamer. It's a Strength 6 AP3 template that can be placed anywhere within 12 inches, so long as the narrow end is closer to the Helldrake. It also possesses the Demon Forge special rule, so between the placement being very advantageous and re-rolling field rolls to whom we kill every single purifier that the template touches, that's 7 total. And the Blastmasters continue to open up on Anthony's strike squads with 2 more direct hits, killing an additional 5 Grey Knights. And I think it might have taken some Guardsmen as well, I don't really remember. So here we are, Anthony's battle line at the end of turn 2 Chaos. So I think this is just another picture to show the total board perspective. So yeah, turn 3 Imperial Guard, the Vendetta continues to zoom up the board. The Demolisher pretty much stays still, it doesn't have much. Pardon me, I'm sorry, that's yawn. The Demolisher has a perfect target, which is to say that the Obliterators, and the rest of the Guardsmen and Power Armor units don't have much to do, so they're going to pretty much stay where they are. The Demolisher is on target, or maybe only scatters 2 inches onto the 2 most right-hand Obliterators. He wounds both, I fail both saves, instant death, those models are destroyed. And then the rest of his army shoots at the Helldrake and manages to take off the last remaining hull point. So this is pretty much the board disposition at the end of Anthony's shooting. I advance further up with the with the Marines in the center. The Forge Fiend continues to advance on the right-hand side and pivots at the end of its move to... I don't quite think he's in the side arc of the Demolisher. I don't know. The Obliterator advances at him full speed ahead. I fire the Multi-Melta on the last remaining Obliterator. He's within 12 inches. It hits, penetrates, and rolls the Explodes result. Thank goodness. That's one less thing to worry about. The Blastmasters fire into Anthony's back line. There's a little scattering, but both of them hit the Scythelman Dread in the center of the line there and destroy it. I put the... it's like ecstatic seizures, maybe. I forget what the name of the Slaanesh power is that reduces the Vendetta to ballistic skill 2, and I managed to hit him, I think, with a plasma gun or with some shooting. Maybe it was the quad gun. I'm sorry, I can't really remember. Anthony chooses to juke and makes the cover save that's provided from the juking. He will only be hitting on 6s, of course, from here on out, and I don't think he really minds because he keeps the Vendetta for another turn. So beginning of turn 4, the Vendetta zooms up a little bit further, is directly over the Obliterator's head. Anthony's Purifiers on the right just kind of spread out to avoid Blastmaster death. Castellan Crow is still hiding behind the Bastion on the left, along with the Scythelman Dread, and the rest of the rest of the Guardsmen don't really have much to worry about. His shooting eliminates the Forge Fiend on the right-hand side. He fires all of the Vendetta shots into the Obliterator, gets... remember, he juked previously, so he's only hitting on 6s. And what does Anthony roll with his 2 last cannon shots but 2 6s? So, okay. 2 ones on the Obliterator. It's got a 5-up invuln save from the Demon special rule. I rolled 2 dice and get 2 5s. So, okay, I'll take it. And here you see the board at the end of Anthony's turn going into my turn. The... Cultists continue to not really have moved much. Everybody's pretty spread out to minimize their risk to blast templates, although now that the Demolisher's been killed, Anthony has no blast templates to worry about. So, turn 4, Chaos. I hop the wall with the autogun cultists, hop the wall with the, close combat weapon auto pistol cultists. There's a little shenanigans going on there insofar as the Chaos Lord is attached to the melee squad of cultists to give them the Fearless special rules so they don't have to worry about anything. However, if I want them to be able to continue shooting the quad gun with the Chaos Lord's ballistic skill, they cannot run in this phase. The autogun guys are under no such restrictions, so they can just run and try to grab the objective, but then they're leadership 7 if they take any casualties. So that's not great. The Noise Marines advance slightly. There's really no more juicy targets for the Blastmaster. The Chaos Marines just drive to the middle of the board, and the Obliterator just advances slightly towards the Vendetta. Or maybe he backs up. I think actually I've backed up with him because there's no reason to risk first rank fire, second rank fire, just pouring wounds onto him. He has a 2-up armor save. He's very resilient against lasgun fire, but at this point in the game, there's no reason for me to even expose him to that. So rather than advancing with him, I actually back him up a few inches. He's still within the 6 inches from the Melt-A-Gun special rule. I fire the Obliterator's twin-linked Melt-A-Gun at the Vendetta. I'm pretty sure that's what does it in. I'm thinking, I think he actually, no, it was not. I think I failed to hit with the twin-link Melt-A-Gun. I just didn't roll any 6s. I then shot it with the double plasma guns in the left-hand squad. Didn't get any hits. I then shot it with the double plasma guns on the right-hand squad. Got a hit. Anthony tried to juke, failed, rolled successfully to glance it, takes off the last hull point, destroys the, or no, pardon me, I think it penetrated it, actually, and destroys the Vendetta. It then scatters 2d6 inches. The flaming wreckage of the Vendetta comes down pretty much right on top of that objective on the upper right-hand corner, and of the 10-man squad inside the Vendetta, only 2 guys survive. So, now, they're right on top of the objective, but I'm really under no illusions. It should be no problem at all to eliminate 2 guardsmen. The rest of Anthony's army pours over the defense line at this point. We're going into the top of turn 5, so the game could end at the end of this turn. We did not have night fighting in the beginning of this game, and we did not roll night fighting for turn 4, and I think we actually get it now at the top of turn 5. So night fighting is in effect as of this turn. The Scythelman Dread peeks his head out, and Anthony gets as many guys contesting or claiming these objectives as he possibly can. So here you can see the end of his movement. He has the objective on the left pretty much encircled. That may look as if it's a single infantry squad. It's not. It's actually 3 different infantry squads. It's one squad that is that upper left-hand side of it, one squad on the lower right, and I think it's actually a platoon command squad as well. On the right-hand side, pardon me, I had to yawn. On the right-hand side, we have one guardsman squad, another guardsman squad with the autocannon, and then the purifiers as well. So Anthony has several different targets that must all be eliminated before I can push him off those objectives. And even if every single shot I fire hits, wounds, and kills its target, it's going to be really hard for me to eliminate all of those guys, all of those scoring units. So here we are sort of showing the board perspective. Anthony shoots the quad gun, the Cypherman Dreadnought, and fires some las guns from his units that moved. He kills a few Noise Marines, and that's pretty much it. So at the bottom of turn 5, I advance all of my Chaos Marines on the right and continue to advance the Cultists. Notice that they're kind of strung out on the left there, so it goes Chaos Lord, Unit Champion, and some Yuts at the bottom of the hill there to maintain unit coherency. The Noise Marines are within 24 inches. There's no reason for me to really move them. And the Obliterator is within 12 inches of those Grey Knights, so he'll at least be able to fire the twin-linked plasma gun. And that's exactly what we do. I fired the right-hand squad of Chaos Marines into the IG that are screening those purifiers. They kill them. I fire the twin-linked plasma gun into the 2 purifiers, kill both of them, and then the guys on the left just shoot into the rest of the IG and kill a handful of them. The Noise Marines eliminate the left-hand squad on the top left objective, and then the quad gun, auto gun wielding cultists cause a few injuries to the other guys that are surrounding it, but not enough firepower left to push them entirely off that objective. At the end of turn 5 shooting, I've got 2 objectives that I'm claiming, 1 objective that Anthony's claiming, and 1 objective that's been just cleared of scoring units. So here you can see the board at the end of the game. We actually rolled to continue into turn 6. However, Anthony just had no interest in doing that because of it was pretty obvious that's how things were going. Couple comments about this game. I haven't been uploading a lot of 40K videos because I really don't have a tremendous interest in playing 40K. In 5th edition, I took tremendous satisfaction from running a Karn the Betrayer and Khorne Berserker heavy list. I would spend the whole game engineering that perfect assault. Engaging in that assault, I would take a Chaos Land Raider so that I could really just do like the Armored Fist sort of mechanized Chaos list, and I had a lot of fun doing it. In 6th edition, it just sucks. It's just not very good. Assault is the worst it's ever been. Shooting is the best it's ever been. And I played a couple games and just was very dissatisfied with an assault emphasis for my Chaos Marines. I pretty much tabled the army. I came back to it for the new release. I picked up some Dark Vengeance models as well to give me some cultists to play with. And it gave me an opportunity to use things like the defense line that I had just bought as a nice piece of like flair for the board. This was a victory for Chaos Marines. I had First Blood. I had 2 objectives to Anthony's 1 objective, so it was a victory. This is probably the least fun I've had playing a game of 40K in the entire time I've engaged in that aspect of the hobby. We sat behind our defense lines 24 inches apart and pew-pewed at each other, and the person that rolled better won. I don't feel like anything I did was a serious tactical mastery or display of my skill. I just have a lot of beef with Warhammer 40K right now. I'm not having a lot of fun playing it. And when I play Fantasy or when I play Infinity, I have a lot of fun. So I think I'm just going to take a break from the game. We had only really gone back to 40K because we had hoped to engage in this doubles tournament, which has, of course, been postponed for the weather. But that's my. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be down on the game because I know a lot of people enjoy it, and I do really like the quality of the new models in the new Chaos book. It's just allies and being able to buy fortifications are changes to this game that I just really do not appreciate. I don't want to ally my Chaos Marines. I mean, if I really wanted to have the most competitive force, I could take Imperial Guard or I can take some Chaos Demons and load up on Screamers and Flamers. But that just does not appeal to me. In any event, I hope everyone enjoyed this battle report. This was a victory for Chaos Space Marines in a 2,000-point match versus Grey Knights with an allied Imperial Guard. I hope to have some more videos as the, this week coming up. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle report.